Hey, so if I told you you had a story I wanted to hear, would you tell it? Better yet, would you tell it to help someone else or even yourself? Of course you would, because just like our fingerprints, we are all unique in our stories. And what is a story? We have multiple stories in our lives, but the story that everyone talks about is the one that changes our lives and our views forever. Or unless you were born into something that's very unique, that is your story. Who am I? I'm Christine, and I have a story. My story is I am a mother who lost her 17-year-old daughter on New Year's Day 2007. My daughter Nicole Marie passed away, but that is not for you to feel sorry for me. Rather, I show you that I can live life after my change and tragedy. And today I have a special friend. Her name is Cara, and today's going to be an interesting conversation because you think you know someone and you really don't. And I learned a lot being her friend in these 7 years?
8. This
Ooh,
year's 8.
8 years? Okay.
8.
So Cara has a unique story. We say family is everything, but as we know, family is a lot of different things. And some people don't have that ideal family that we think we have with the mom and the dad and the siblings, and we all live in the same house. Things happen, yes? And Cara's story is quite interesting. Cara was, I'll let you tell the story because it's your story.
I've lived a long time because I'm like middle-aged now. So, you want me to start at the beginning? I don't know. Okay, so yeah, I think that you hit the nail on the head. Is that everybody has a unique story, and not everybody has a traditional family. If you think of family, people usually think of mom, dad, and siblings, and what have you. And I come from a very different background. I was born to parents, like we all were. It's not like I was like a spontaneous combustion or anything. That would be impressive.
That's why she's my friend.
Right? They call me Jesus Christi. I'm just kidding.
Okay.
It's all the Christian people are like booing me right now.
Oh no, don't do that.
No, but I was born to parents like everyone else, but my parents struggled at a very young age with just being stable people. They had their own set of issues, and my mom took my brother and I to the babysitter and dropped us off and never came back.
What?
So,
Who does that? Drop you off at the babysitters and doesn't come back?
I think that when you think of it from my perspective,
sure,
today versus obviously when I was younger, it was very scary.
How old were you?
2.5.
You were little.
Yeah.
So it's not something you probably even remember?
I do.
You do remember?
Because I think that you recall and you do remember things that are very, they're traumatic.
For sure.
Yeah. So, because you think about if you're separated from your parent, you'll remember that. It's a life event. If you think about categorically a major life event, that would be one. So I do remember it. But I think looking back on it today as a mature woman, that, how awful it must have been for my mom to feel like she had to be in that position.
To not be able to come back knowing that she had two children she left with someone else and not know whether she should come back.
Right. And
so you never saw her again?
I saw her when I was 12. So she left us at the babysitter, and then it gets better. And I was put into foster care. So I grew up in the foster care system in inner city Chicago. That's why I'm so tough. But
I think a lot of us are tough in a lot of ways, but yours is definitely a unique one at this moment.
Yeah. But you think of people who are in foster care or people who grew up in group home situations.
I don't know anyone in foster care. Yeah. My youngest sister was put in a group home for a short period of her time, of her life, but I didn't know anything about it. So share with us, those of us who don't know.
A lot of people think there's a taboo with it. Oh my God, they're in foster care. They must be completely, emotionally disturbed, or they have some significant issues. And granted, there's trauma. Whenever you go through something like that, there's a lot of trauma.
Of course.
But you have to be diligent. And I feel like I'm really blessed because from a very young age, I was able to, I'm a very visionary person. I'm a visual person. And I always saw myself in a different place, So think of if you're in a bad situation, think of a war movie. and they close their eyes and then they're on the beach with the one they love, and that they're removed from those traumas.
Okay.
So I think that
A
probably
coping.
was a saving grace for me.
A coping. Okay.
Yeah, a coping mechanism that, that I adapted. And I also knew that in my heart that I always wanted happiness. And so I would see people who were happy, like older couples holding hands, or, little kids playing with puppy dogs. And that I was drawn to that. I wasn't drawn to, getting into fist fights in back alleys, over cocaine or something like that, So there's two different ways I think you can look at it. I think you can look at it from a perspective that, well, that's like a really tough way to grow up. And I did, I lived from home to home with my belongings fit into a trash bag. Mm-hmm. I used to have to, would have to, keep an eye on my stuff because the other girls, other foster kids would take your things, and when you talk about things, I'm talking about like just basic stuff like toothbrush.
Well, that's all you have, and so that's what you hold on to because you feel like someone's going to take it away because you already left somewhere that someone left you, and so you felt abandoned.
Right.
Oh, and so now you're keeping anything you can to hold on to because you don't know what's going to be happening next.
And that's very, very tough way to live. So I ended up running away a lot from foster care, and then I'd get picked up, mostly for truancy because, they don't care if you have a roof over your head. They care if you show up to school. Isn't that a son of a gun? And I would go into juvenile detention, but it was almost a relief to be on the street than versus being, because there was no comfort. At least I felt like when I was on the street that, I felt safe.
Okay.
Because I felt safe alone.
Wow.
Versus being in a house full of people I didn't know, who I couldn't trust.
Well, now, you said you and your brother. Was your brother in this foster care as well?
He was not. He stayed in one home, and he struggles today, and we talked years ago, and I would have to allow him to share his own story.
Absolutely.
Out of respect for his privacy. Sure. But he said years ago to me that I was the lucky one because I got out.
Oh, wow. But, you say you're the lucky one. Mm-hmm. It sounds like you've had some struggles, though. I've known you personally, but I don't know those struggles. Mm-hmm. Would you say that, yes, you were out there on the streets protecting yourself, fighting, because that's what you had to do
to save? Oh, yeah, it was a bad mamma jamma.
Well, we know how far that goes when we're kids and then become adults and then have kids of our own to say that's not the right thing to do. But, you're looking for...
Well, there's a fundamental difference, and I don't mean to interject, between anger and survival.
Oh.
Because let me back up. You're angry already because you feel rejected by everybody.
Well, then you have no answers.
And then your survival instinct kicks in. If you think of fight or flight,
right.
I was a fighter, definitely a fighter, but I don't know. I think that it served its purpose at the time.
Okay. Do you feel like you had to grow up fast being on the streets?
Yeah, I think that I don't want to say robbed me of my youth, because I think that's...
No, that was your youth, so you can't say it robbed you. Yeah, I think
that's just the way I grew up. I don't see it as anything bad. I see it as...
That's what you knew and had to do. Okay.
I did the best with the information I had at the time.
I think most of us do that no matter what age, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So now you have referred to a lady by the name of V. Aunt V?
Aunt Vivian.
Aunt Vivian. Tell us about Aunt Vivian.
So when I was a little girl, I have a godmother. Okay. And she, I was baptized Christian, and all that good stuff. And her name's Vivian Turner. She's my godmother, and we were super close. Like, if you could think of like how ultimately close you can be to a human being, like as a family member, she's like a mom to me.
So she knew your struggles and she took you in and became your godmother? How did that work out?
Yeah, so I was baptized when I was really young by, one of my families, and her and I kept in touch, and we did lose touch for some time, but we've been in touch for years and years, so we have a definitive family resemblance. Funny story, she'll appreciate this. I'm going to send her the link.
I hope so. I've seen her in your conversations, but I wanted to know more how she was a part of your life and how she played a big role.
Yes, she was really sad, for me growing up to see the struggles I went through. However, she's so proud of who I am today, and I remember this is probably like 97, 98. It's a long time ago. And I got to go back into the Alzheimer's memory bank here.
We'll go together.
Exactly. Wait, you've always been the older one, so. You still look great though.
So do you.
Thank you. I was actually working at Central City Association for the Business Improvement District for Los Angeles. I used to lobby for them and do their membership services. Okay. And she came to visit, and she came in the office, and there was this, I can't remember her name. I can picture her face. This Filipino lady worked in the accounting department. And so, you go around and you introduce people, and I'm like, oh, this is my Auntie Viv, she's visiting from Chicago, because I grew up in Chicago. And she turns around, God, I wish I could remember her name. And she goes, she's your auntie? How's she your auntie? She's black. And my Aunt Viv turns around and puts her butt cheek out. She goes, you don't see the family resemblance? Because baby got back. So
that's funny, because look at there's those different lives, but yet love has no color.
No boundaries.
And no boundaries, and I love that part of the story. That's why when I ask about your Aunt Viv, I've never met her, Aunt V, but to say that she's black. And you're obviously white.
Yeah.
She passed the test. But it's great, because I don't believe that love has a color.
No, it doesn't.
And someone took you in as their own, and saw the pain you went through, and she was sad, but she was there to help you also. You gave her joy. So she helped you, you helped her. I love that story. So we're going to move fast here forward.
Okay.
You're a mom.
Oh, yeah.
How many kids do you have?
All my gray hair, I've earned every single one.
How many kids do you have?
I have 4. I have 3 sons and 1 daughter.
Okay.
My oldest son, Kyle, is 29.
Okay.
Ian is 26.
Okay.
Sebastian is 22. And my only lovely daughter is 18. Her name's Abby.
So with that being said, being a mom, after what you just shared with me, was it a scary thing to become a mom when you didn't have those role models in your life at the time that you did?
Oh, no, because I had kids all for the wrong reasons. But it's, you have to be honest. I'm very candid. I'm a very transparent person.
This is people's lives.
Yeah.
If you're not honest, then you know what?
Right.
Then you need to check it.
Well, when I was really young when I had my first son, Kyle, and, God, I can't believe my son's going to be 30. Damn.
My son just turned 25.
Oh, my God, we're middle-aged. Damn it.
Focus.
Yeah. Anyways, I was young, and I had no family and no one to support me, no one to love me. So I thought at that very young age,
baby, make me love.
Right. Well, I felt, I was 17. So I was like, if I have a child, then that child will always love me because I gave birth to it and it's always going to love me. It's going to be great. And that's how you think, because you have to remember at 17, you're not mature and you make decisions based on, your frontal cortex is not even developed. You're just an idiot, Mm-hmm. But you make decisions that are emotionally based.
Right.
And so I felt that if I had my own children, because my family had left me and everybody who I'd loved had walked away or been taken away from me,
understood,
that no one could take it away from me because it was mine.
Understood.
And I have 4 beautiful children. I have a great relationship, hi guys, with all my kids. But it didn't come without its struggles,
Being a parent
I was a terrible parent.
No.
I was, because when you have children for the wrong reasons,
they say it's the mother's curse though too, but
I don't know that. I just think that it might be because of immaturity and because I didn't really have a good grasp on stability and continuity and the parenting role, that I was kind of an absent parent in a lot of ways and I didn't know how to prioritize.
Okay.
Because I was young. What do you want to do when you're young? You want to go party and have a good time. And your kids are like, you're like, oh, I love you, but gotta go. The girls are waiting. Peace out. You come home rolling at 4:00 in the morning, high on coke and freaking marijuana and all drunk. And I didn't set a really good example as a young parent. And the reason why I share that is because we all do stuff. And then,
when we're young, we do stupid things.
Yeah,
sure.
and I'm not embarrassed what I did. I have a great relationship with my kids.
Right.
I do. I love my kids. My kids love me. But I didn't get here by being a great parent every step of the way. you can still have a great relationship with people even if you fuck up. You know, screw up.
So
we're not on.
There's one question that I always ask everybody with the trials that you went through, and you came out somewhat okay. You're my friend, of course, and you have 4 beautiful children, which I have met, and I'm very proud to know them. Is there anything that you want to give to someone who maybe is at a young age that's struggling, that maybe you could help with avoiding maybe the trials that you went through, and that they don't have to be so hard on themselves?
You know, well, one of the reasons why I agreed to do this interview, because, you know, it goes on social media and you can never retract it, and it's a lot of personal information. When I'm very transparent, I'm not embarrassed
2 minutes.
by who I am.
And you shouldn't be. Nobody should be.
But if I can overcome the challenges that I did as a youth and put myself through college and raise 4 children and be a productive member of society, maybe there's that one person out there who scrolls by and listens to this and says, oh my God, you know, her life should have ended. She should have been in jail or dead, you know. But I didn't. And the reason is because I kept faith in myself.
Faith is always good.
And it's not about a deity. It's about believing in yourself.
Absolutely agree with you.
And, you know, and there's so many people along the way who were very supportive throughout my life. Yeah. But if there's one person that I could touch to tell, if you love you, everything else will fall in place. I love that. And if that reaches one person,
that's all that matters. That's all I know. I always like to say, one person, one day at a time, making a difference. And so, 2 minutes. What legacy do you want to leave?
Legacy.
I know a lot of people don't know what that is, or they're not sure. They haven't thought of it. Now it's really, you've been through what you've been through.
Yeah.
What do you want to leave behind in that day that you're no longer here and you want to be remembered for?
Well, hopefully nobody says anything terrible about me when I'm dead. You know,
You're
not doing my eulogy. I mean, she's known me too long. No, just kidding. I really hope that people remember my kindness. I'm learning even today to do things out of wisdom, with wisdom. And with faith and compassion. And I really, really, really hope that that's what people remember me for, as a loving person who's kind and who has a lot of compassion. And I hope that's what I put out there into the world, because that's who I am.
That is who you are.
Yeah. So
my Fifi, my longtime friend, and I will be doing your eulogy. If not, I'll be sharing all the photos that we have taken in all these years.
Make sure she says good things about me.
Thank you for giving me your time. You know, it's hard for people to share something that they feel either shame or they're not sure how to say it. And then when you get them given the opportunity to say, wait a minute, there's a me too out there. And you probably just did that, oh, someone's out there saying me too. Or maybe you've given some steps on to getting out of a situation they think they're stuck on. Would you agree?
Yeah. And hey, listen, I'm on Instagram, and you know, you can find me, and if you ever need someone to talk to, or just roll by and say, hey, I'm here. Totally.
So what is your Instagram account?
Oh man.
Would you like them to email me if need be?
Yes.
Or in the comments.
I change my name all the time, so.
Rather than changing your hair. I'm consistent about just being crazy.
Right.
I'm the controllable crazy, as my son says.
We love her anyway.
So if you want to get a hold of my friend Cara, also known as Fifi, you can put something in the comments below, or you can email me, and that is my storiesofhope.myjourney@gmail.com. And until next time, we wish you well, and come back to the next episode, because these just keep getting better and better. Thank you, Cara.
Thank you.
I really appreciate it.
No problem.
All right. We'll see you again soon. Bye.